a lot of people struggling with a lot of things today. And I wanted to kind of come and talk about why does Ma'at work and just some information around that. This is Amenemhat I. He was a king during the 12th dynasty of ancient Kemet. And there is a very famous inscription and document that talks about him giving a message to his son. Now, it might have been written after his death, and it may have been more like an historic document for a purpose. But and I'm going to talk about that document soon later on. But I was thinking about him, and I was thinking about a relationship between a father and his son, and just the importance of loving on your children, and the importance of just ma'at in a very real way. And I asked myself the question because I know someone who tried to kill themselves, who tried to commit suicide. And very recently, and actually today, and that just just the idea and thinking about that, and knowing that person, and knowing the reality of how that sits in with the family and with everything, and just with their family, just being aware of that and thinking about how many people need help in ways we don't know, and how many people need help where we can help them before they get to the point where they want to maybe end their life, or things are so bad. We spend so much time over just over grandizing and thinking about material things. We don't even talk about mental health and joy and the things that keep people alive and things that keep people happy. And I know that there are times when we need help. We need mental help. We need people, we need physicians, we need psychiatrists or psychologists, to help us. But there are also how many people could be helped by things that we do and by things that we help themselves. And I think that there are things that we also can do to help ourselves, just like we help ourselves with our physical health, we help ourselves with our mental health. And I believe that when you're working with a child, and when you have a child, and when you're just working with your family in general, there's so many things we can do to help people have a natural and a healthy idea of themselves. When you want to harm yourself, when you are thinking about bad things, or when you are not wanting to live life, or whatever that may be, you are probably having, more than likely, negative thoughts over and over and over again in your mind, to the point where you can't deal with the thoughts. You can't deal with the idea of what you think life is like. And whether that is the reality or just your perception of reality, it's the world you're living in, because you are the one perceiving it, right? Your perception is important. And that's why in my opinion, is so important. So, because it's truth, right? We're not just asking, when I pray to God and ask God for guidance about what I should do with my life, and what I should believe in, what I should practice, how do I connect with God? I just pray for truth. I didn't pray for initially, give me this way, or ask him, God, just give me the truth. Just give me the real way. And this is what I'm sharing. This is what I want to know. It doesn't matter what somebody wants to call it, or, a rose by any other name will smell the same. Doesn't matter what you want to call spinach is spinach, right? You eat it, it's going to taste like spinach. I just want the truth, no matter what you call it. And the whole idea of ma'at rests around the idea of truth and balance. And the whole idea that you are a divine expression of God is significant. That is truth. We could argue with it. And if you wait for somebody else to try to validate for you what you feel for yourself, or what you know to be true, you're never going to get it. And that's part of this whole thing. You're going to have challenges when it comes to faith, when it comes to developing your spirituality, when it comes to just trying to live out who you want to be. Those challenges are going to be there. And sometimes you're going to be in a situation where you're kind of left by yourself, and you have to have faith about it. You have to begin to yourself understand who you are, and know that you may not get validation from other people. You may not get the support from other people. People may not believe what you believe. You may look at it and you say, I know ancient Egyptians were black. I know that there were black people in ancient Kemet, and somebody else may never believe that for the rest of their lives. You can't let that concept go away. You can't let that not let you seek the truth. You can't let that not let you pursue the truth. There were times in the world and in history and in science where we thought one thing was the right way, and it turned out not to be that case. What if you're living in that point in time, or in a point in time where people think this and that's not quite what it is, and you are being led another way? And so the idea of ma'at is truth. And I think about the person who tried to hurt themselves, who tried to kill themselves, and think about what must be going through their mind, and think about how important it is if we are able to, because a lot of us just don't have the tools. One of the things I think about ancient Kemet is that they were very big on passing on the tools and the idea around why they did what they did, remembering their ancestors and making sure that their children understood why they did what they did. If you think about the story I was talking about yesterday and the instructions to Murakari from his father about what to do and what not to do and how to, it was a fool wants what other people have, and that you should conduct yourself in a certain way. This was a man telling his son, telling his child, this is how you navigate through this kingship. This is how you navigate through being a ruler. This is how you navigate through leadership. Now, and at the end, he says, I've given you the best of what I have. I've given you the best of my thoughts. Now it's time for you to act according to what you have been given. The whole idea of passing on tools, we're not just passing on knowledge. We're not just passing on information. We're passing on tools. It's not just facts. When we think about ancient Kemet and the study and what the Kushite people were doing, it wasn't just information. It was tools. There were also tools to help you cope, to help you be successful, to help you have the right idea in life, the true idea in life. And that's where Ma'at comes in, and being able to balance your heart against a feather. What if you had an understanding that you are a divine expression of God? And that is something that you meditated on every day. That's something that you were taught from when you were a child, right? Because many of our people, we just don't have it. People just don't have coping mechanism, and it's not anybody's fault. It's not the parents' fault. They didn't have the tools, right? And we are divorced from a society where we are really thinking about, how do I pass on to my children the things that they will need to be successful in life? And from a Kemetic perspective and a Kushite perspective, these were also spiritual things. It wasn't just you pass on land to your family. You also did things for your ancestors. You also did things to remember people who came before you. You also passed on ways in which you should behave yourself. And that morality makes a difference, right? So nowadays we're in situations where people don't even pass on reading to their children. If you think about, am I giving my child the tools that they need to be successful in life? Am I developing? And you may not even know, right? And in a lot of ways we have been born into a culture, developed a culture, risen into a culture just because of all the stuff we've been dealing with that doesn't actually focuses on giving the next generation the tools, or the current generation the tools that we need to be successful and to be happy. So think about that. Imagine if you can tell that child who one day grow to be a man, tell that child that you are a divine expression of God. I don't care what you're experiencing. I don't care what's going on. You are God's child. Get to know love. Even if you don't think anybody loves you, even if you think your mama don't, or your girlfriend don't, or whatever it is, understand that you are loved by God. Understand that you are a divine expression of God. And it may be tough, but if you can meditate on that more than you meditate on other things, if you can think about that more than you think about other things, if you can begin to realize that reality and develop a relationship with God, when you get challenged in life, when things pop up, you're going to know that you have a connection. You're going to know that you have a purpose. You're going to know that the person who may be saying things to you may not be telling the truth because you've had that real connection that is truth. That's all I want from God is truth, right? Tell me the truth. Tell me the true way to do it, and give me an opportunity to live it. Let me live it. And I think that Ma'at and a Kemetic way of thinking, and many ways are helpful to us. But I think that in some ways, some people are going to religious facilities that are not giving them tools to cope. Whether it's the church, some people are going to church and they're not getting the tools they need to cope. In some ways, they're getting things that just tell them, you are a sinner. You're going to always be a sinner. You were born into sin. You were fallen from grace, like the doctrine of grace. And that abundance is living life materially. And we have so many people who teach abundance, but don't teach abundance of joy. Don't teach abundance of peace. How do you save that mind that might be feeling negative about themselves, that may be getting negative images coming to them and negative things that they don't know how to process? And that doesn't matter. It didn't matter whether you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend. It doesn't matter whether you have money if you can't process these things. And a lot of times people are going to church, and the churches and other facilities, other religious institutions, and they're not getting that sense of self-worth. They're not getting that sense of identity of who they really are. They're not dealing in truth. They're being told that you were born in sin and that you're always a sinner. And it's okay when you fall because that's who you are. All you have to do is believe in God and don't expect very much. Or maybe God will give you money and make sure you continue to tithe to the church. Sometimes that's really what some people are getting. That's really what don't expect very much out of it. Just, give to God. And everything's going to be okay, and you'll go to heaven. It's kind of the same kind of thought that was given a long time ago. You'll get your peace in heaven, when you should be having your peace and your happiness near it. It's not dependent upon your materiality. It's dependent upon your outlook, right? It's dependent upon your perspective. And I think about so many of our children have a perspective that that they don't know how to deal with the very real pain that's experienced in this day and age. This pain of being a Black person in America, being a person, period, in this day and age. You're going to experience a lot of challenges, and we are not giving our children, we're not even living up to what our ancestors were doing in terms of equipping our children to do the right thing. And one of the first things you can do, one of the most important things you can do, is to teach your child to love yourself, to love themselves, and for you to love yourself. And that becomes a significant part of Ma'at, and one of the most important emotions and feelings we can have is love. It's that connection with God. It's that living that truth. It's that living your purpose. That's the most important, because that will see you through anything. That will bring you happiness when nothing else does. That will make you work on things when other things don't allow you to work. When you have that sense of belonging, and you have that sense of peace, and you have that sense of love, that's really what it is. So when I think about why does Ma'at work, I think it works because it's true. I think it works because it's rests in divinity, and that it gives you an idea of your divinity. It tells you that you're not limited. It tells you that although you may be experiencing what seems to be like challenges on earth, you may be experiencing challenges, they don't define you. That who you are is bigger than the challenge that you're experiencing. You have to know that and get to believe that and breathe on that, and then show techniques. How do you read about that? How do you pray about that? How do you breathe on that? How do you meditate till it becomes a part of your life where I'm bigger than my challenge? My life is bigger than the challenges I'm facing right now. Even the people who I think hate me, my life is bigger than that. I don't have to be defined by that. I actually have a choice right now how I want to think about what I'm thinking. And the way in which I can do it is through prayer, through meditation, through helping to read, through associating myself with things that reinforce that, to thinking about those things myself. And that's kind of what Amenemhat did for his son. That's kind of what Mirakari did and had done for him. That's what the teachings of Ptah was about. These were literally documents from ancient Kemet that taught people, in particular young people, the next generation, how to go about dealing with challenges, how to avoid, pitfalls, how to know that you're living Ma'at, how to be successful in the afterlife. One of the things we were talking about yesterday, which says, when you get to the afterlife and you're judged in that great big grand court, the amount of days that you live make no difference. The amount of years you have, they make no difference. The only thing that's going to be judged are your deeds, whether or not you did good things for good people. And if you pass the test, your deeds will be set beside you like a treasure forever. Imagine that. Teaching our children that how you behave and the things you do is your actions that make you who you are, that make you a man, that make you a woman. It's the things that you do, not just what you say, not just how long you live or how much you have. It's what you actually do, what you do for people, and that you don't have limitations like you think on what you can do. You actually are a manifestation of God, and you have a purpose. Imagine children believing that, understanding that, believing that, and being taught by their parents, right? From the time when they're little. And so, I say that because a lot of us just have never gotten that. So we didn't know how to impart that to our children. A lot of us have never gotten that kind of instruction. But imagine being able to tell your child that from the very beginning, that they are a divine expression of God, that they don't have limits on what they can do, that the challenges they face, they are bigger than the challenges that they face. And that if you do good things in life, although people will tell you otherwise, you will actually be on the better side. You will have less conflict in your life. You will have God supporting you. You will have less trouble coming in life if you do good deeds, and you actually be an honored ancestor, somebody who have peace and less conflict, even less internal conflict. If you do good things in your life, this is how you open up Ma'at. This is how you open up God's power, is by treating God's creations well. God's people that you see, things. This is how you open up God's power. You don't open up God's power by hating the things that God created, by downing the things. And the first thing you can't hate, the first thing you must love and treat well is yourself. That's the first love has to be yourself and God. So I just wanted to share that. I had to talk about that and to think about that today, just given what happened and what was on my mind. But I really pray that we talk more about it. And I'm going to be coming with more information around that. When we think about, why does Ma'at work, is because it's true. It's truth. That's why it works, is because it's truth. So thank you so much. God bless.